Viewers, it could have been worse. We are fortunate that the intruders were not carrying anything more deadly than smoke munitions. A can of sarin nerve gas or any other toxin could have led to a mass tragedy. The intrusion shouldn't have happened. Not to a powerful nation with the world's second largest standing army, and certainly not to a nation where the dispensation wags its finger at those who dare to eyeball India. And lest we forget, there are plenty of dysfunctional nuclear-tipped neighbors who are looking to exploit any signs of weakness. And weakness there is. Indeed, today's breach of Parliament is a disquieting confirmation of a persisting laxity at the heart of the Indian state's security apparatus. The two men found that weakness. Look at them, jumping across row upon row of seats as flabbergasted MPs look on in shock. Look at them, viewers. Who could have imagined these scenes? Two absolute, unidentified, random individuals leaping out of the visitors' gallery onto the floor of the Lok Sabha, bolting across the rows of seating. The two in the house had at least two more accomplices outside, and you can see them in the middle of your screens and on the extreme right of your screens as they were detained by the police. But it was all too late. From the slogans they were shouting, it appeared they were frustrated with the lack of jobs. Whatever their motivations, viewers, they have exploited that loophole that gave them access to India's cradle, viewers. Manoranjan, aged 35 from Mysuru. Sagar Sharma, unknown age, we don't know where he hails from. Neelam, age 42 from Hisar. Amol Shinde, age 25 from Latur in Maharashtra. All four are part of a larger module. That is what we are told, part of a conspiracy. Multi-agencies now will be probing this breach of Parliament, the most serious, viewers, in 22 years. That the intrusion should have also taken place on the very day Parliament was attacked 22 years ago is doubly embarrassing. If anything, the state ought to have been even more vigilant than usual, as Khalistani separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannun had threatened to target Parliament on its 22nd anniversary, on this very day, which is today. But the intruders seem to have got past all three tiers of security. There are metal detectors, handheld metal detectors frisking at first entry gate. There's a metal detector frisking repeated at entry gate of the Parliament building. Security is present in the corridor that leads to various visitor galleries. Visitors are not allowed to carry phones, water bottles inside the gallery, let alone, viewers, smoke munitions. Viewers, had they carried, as I told you, something more lethal, we would have been staring at a catastrophe. India of 2023 is very different from that pale shadow of a state of the 90s and the early 2000s that had traded terrorists for its kidnapped citizens, or had remained inert when Pakistan struck at will, or when it provocatively courted separatists right here in the heart of the capital, barely, viewers, 3 kilometers from the Prime Minister's house. Modi's India, a world power, is made of different stuff. Today the world listens when India talks. Today the world takes a step back when India puts its best foot forward. Rising India is making 5th generation fighter jets, the deadliest missile systems. It is projecting power beyond its shores through indigenous aircraft carriers and submarines. It has acquired the ability to hit a pint-sized missile hurtling towards it from space. It can land probes on the moon. Yet, it can't seem to get the relatively easiest things right. It can't secure access to its parliament, or even secure a platoon in its own backyard in Kashmir. India's security apparatus has failed it twice in 1999. It couldn't secure the nation in 2001 or 2008 or 2019. It's almost as if more things change, the more they stay the same. The reason is simple, and it can be summed up, viewers, in one phrase: the lack of accountability. Ask yourself, when was the last time a big head rolled for failing Bharat in the face of a security failure? So who is accountable? The buck unambiguously stops at the door of the Union Home Ministry, viewers, because all those responsible for Parliament's security are administered directly from the Home Ministry. Here are the hard facts. Square them, viewers, against what I'm saying. I always tell you the hard facts up front, viewers, so that you are better informed about the circumstances, the context, the pretext, the subtext of every story. This is how it all works. This is the grid of Parliament, security grid. There is a security net of CRPF, the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, the IB, the Delhi Police, the SPG and NSG, and Parliament has its own security. Advanced technology for authorization, identification and authentication on protocols is employed or deployed. Outer perimeter is guarded by CRPF, part of Special Parliament Duty Group, 1,500 strong PDG, which is, viewers, the Parliament's own defence corps, is in charge of overall security of the complex. Deployment of NSG commandos equipped with latest gadgets and weaponry. Roads leading to Parliament have bomb detection units and SWAT commandos. Every bit of Parliament complex is monitored 24/7 via CCTV cameras. Security clearances are constantly vetted by Intelligence Bureau. Sharpshooters are deployed strategically with orders to shoot intruders. Security personnel at access points trained to identify potential threats. Viewers, it's all there. It's all overseen by the centre, by the Union Home Ministry and, viewers, other forces, paramilitary forces. It's quite centralized. And it is, of course, the highest value target in this land. It's our democratic cradle. Without Parliament, there is no democracy, viewers. Without parliamentarians of quality, we lose our voice and we lose our edge. Therefore, Parliament is the biggest target in this nation, and it is supposed to be the most secure. So let's get to our big debate. Viewers, whose heads will roll?
Hello, Moto.
And why can't we get the simplest of things right? Parliament is not sitting in a vulnerable border location. It is not on the LOC, viewers. That's the fundamental question we are asking. And imagine viewers, imagine the glee in Pakistan and China today as they must be circulating these videos and having a mighty old laugh, viewers. What are we to make of all of this? Let's open this up to our panel. Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament from the Congress Party, Mr. HANUMANTHAIAH, is with us. Anand Raghunathan is with us. Savio Rodriguez, political analyst, is with us. Yashovardhan Jha Azad, former IPS officer and Special Director, Intelligence Bureau, is with us. Tehseen Poonawalla, representing the opposition's point of view, is also with us. I want to first begin with the civilian stake. I'm not going to begin with the specialist stake, the politician stake, or the member of parliament stake. I've given you a take, viewers, based on hard facts. I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan tonight. Dr. Ranganathan, you speak quite openly, without fear and favor. What do you make of this today?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. It's a very sad day, and I say that for two reasons. It's not just that in the modern India, in the confident India, in the secure India that you talked about in your primer, Rahul, that this has happened in the new parliament. It is that it has happened on the anniversary of the parliament attack. Now, this is Of course, analogy can be misplaced or it can be aggrandized as the case may be, but this is akin to the 9/11 attack happening again on the newly constructed World Trade Centers. This is unbelievable, and I can't. Any other day, of course, it would have been a dastardly attack and the heads would have rolled, but on the day of the anniversary of a similar attack where 13 people were killed, you would expect the security to be so watertight that nothing of this sort could ever happen again, and it happens on that very day. And of course, the center and the Home Ministry, for whom most of the security of the parliament is a responsibility. By now, it's been more than 10 hours, I suppose, or 8 or 9 hours. What has been the reaction? Which head has rolled? Has Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, come out and put out an explanation or an explainer or even offered his resignation? Remember, in the wake of the 2008 Mumbai attack, the Home Minister was forced to resign and the BJP demanded his resignation. Now, I'm not saying that the Home Minister should resign, but he should come out and give an explanation. Head should roll almost immediately, because just remember, just 9 hours ago, and I'm looking at the PIB communique, the Prime Minister paid tribute to the martyrs of the 2001 Parliament attack. And almost immediately this thing happens in the new Parliament. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is totally unacceptable. And by now, in fact, it should have happened within an hour, within the hour of the attack. By now, head should have rolled. I'm sorely disappointed and I demand an action.
Well, this is a fundamental question, viewers. I ended by saying that the reason why this looks to be like we've not learned lessons from the past is because, viewers, it is very simple. It's the lack of accountability. Had heads rolled when Pulwama happened, maybe we wouldn't be here. And I'm talking about serious heads, big heads. I mean, how long, viewers, are we going to be embarrassed like this? Think about it. Savio Rodriguez, I want to ask you this question. How much longer will we give people the opportunity to think that India hasn't got it together, can't defend its own cradle of democracy, let alone its citizens? I mean, if you're talking about ghar mein ghus ke mara, well, Sansad mein ghus ke maar diya. It could easily have been a terrible tragedy.
Rahul, I agree with everything that you have said and what my good friend Anand Raghunathan has also said.
Yes, sir.
But there is one thing we must understand, that if history has taught us one thing, is that if you want to kill somebody or you want to conduct a terror attack, people with that kind of mindset eventually end up doing it. What do I mean by that? Let me explain myself. A couple of weeks ago, we saw one of the world's most profound intelligence agency having a massive failure as far as Israel is concerned. And what horrific happened over there is for countries all over the world to understand that security is without a doubt the most important aspect of governance for any country. Security of its parliament, security of its infrastructure, security of its people. And yes, in today's incident, the government of India and people responsible for security in the parliament are grossly underestimated the loopholes that exist to allow such a security breach to happen. And therefore, the first thing, to me at least, is not that a head has to roll. It is to find out what led to the security breach, which is one, the security breach intent, two, the people behind the security breach and whether there is a larger conspiracy behind it. Third, what allowed for the lapse in security? Was it an inability of the machines, the technology? What? Because we are talking about a parliament. The parliament is something that is, touted as being one of the most strongest infrastructure created in recent time by the government. Therefore, what led to the security breach? Because you had a canister that came in, a metal canister that came in to the parliament, and that was not detected at all.
Okay.
So you have serious security breaches happening, and that needs to be answered because this could have very well been a terror attack in a similar fashion where a metal canister could have been used or a poisonous gas could have been used, but we have allowed for the security breach to happen. So I'm not looking for a head to roll right now. What I'm looking for is the intelligence failure that something like this could have
Okay.
happened.
Let me
And
bring
this
in.
is the same problem that happened in Israel, which was an intelligence failure.
Okay. Congress MP, Mr. Hanumanthaiyah is also with us. Yashovardhan Azad is also with us. Tehseen Poonawala is with us. Let me bring in the Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament, Mr. Hanumanthaiyah. Today, in any case, is a solemn day, as we know. 22 years ago, as you know very much, Parliament was attacked. And today again we see a repeat. Now, are we asking the wrong question? Savio Rodriguez says we're asking the wrong question. Forget about which head must roll. Find out where the problem is, fix it.
No, this is totally unacceptable. It is the failure of the security of the parliament. And the Home Department has to take the responsibility of this. By this time, I expect a reply from the Home Minister to the country and at least to the parliamentarians who are now in fear. He should have come out and said what is the lapse which has taken place in the afternoon of this day. Number two, this is totally unacceptable. The technology is so strong today. You can find out even in kilometers what is happening. But inside the parliament, when you have allowed people with some kind of dangerous things, whether it is gas or anything, and how can you accept that we have not learnt any lessons from our past? That is another important issue that has to be taken up today. Have you learnt the lesson which we have lost some years ago, 13 security? Today, we were about to lose our own MPs, which would have been a very, very great concern, not only for India, in front of the world, what they will think about India, what they will think about the administration of the parliament. If we cannot save the parliament security, can we save the nation and can we save the other
can we save the nation?
Agencies which are working?
Can we defend our own country and its borders?
They are all under question now.
They are all under question, says the Congress Member of Parliament.
Has to be thought.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Azad on this. He was with the intelligence, of course, in the past, the IB Special Director, I want to bring you in, sir. What's your assessment?
Well, my assessment is that it is a simple failure at the screening point. It is an absolutely unprofessional approach. Well, if it would have been a metal canister, it would have been detected because, as you know, the DFMDs and the HHMDs catch a metal, but they don't catch plastics or other things. But the point is that on this particular day, which is a momentous day where our security men lost lives, of course, utmost caution should have been exercised, and therefore the security not only would have been beefed up, but would have been channeled in a different way, that there are more youngsters, more watchers who have been kept. The important point in this case is to analyze where the failure took place. The failure took place at the personal screening point. The first point, when you're checking through DFMD, you get checked through metals. The next point of check is the personal check of HHMDs. And after that comes the physical frisking. The unprofessional approach or the immature approach can be seen in the fact that there could be something else, because today is a special day. As you see in the airport, if people are walking 10 feet before being checked, you see their limp, you see their gait, because after all, if it was hidden in the shoes, the instruments are not going to give you that signal. Is your watchful eye which has to see something which is beyond the norm. So therefore, the Parliament security grid is absolutely fine. It is the Parliament duty group, which is the security provided at home, which is the in charge, as you rightly said, and it's the Lok Sabha security. Therefore, it was important for the PDG to take action in this. and the security audit should look into this particular point. Number two, it is not an intelligence failure. It is not something to do with Panun, because Panun likes to advertise his actions. The terrorist intent also has to be proved. It can be a political link, but I am happy that the Delhi anti-terrorist cell is there, because every link and every possible connection with either a political group or a terrorist group will be found out. But in the end, let me say that whatever heads roll or whatever happens, it is most critical now to change the system of security inside. That is the parliament duty group, which is important right now, because they are the ones who are in charge and they are the ones who are at the checking points. The outer layer of security provided by the CPOs, they stand firm. The shooters are all right, but the vulnerability comes here in the form of people going in.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawala, let me ask you this question straight off the bat. We are being told by the experts. I'll just come back to you 1 second, doctor. Being told by the expert here. Yeah, okay, Dr. Ranganathan. Yeah, okay.
I have great respect for Mr. Azad. He's a real hero. But I just wanted to add that airports routinely, through backscatter X-rays, check plastic canisters as well. That's how they can detect if a bomb is inside a plastic instead of a metal. So
Right.
I'm amazed that something as modern as this parliament building doesn't have a backscatter X-ray machine to check that.
Correct.
Look, I'll just say it very simply. There is laxity, viewers. There's callousness. And callousness comes because no one is ruggled. Sorry to use this word. If you catch hold of somebody by the scruff of their neck and say, that's it, your job's gone, your cushy job is gone, nobody is going to give you a government job, out you go, I'll tell you, you won't have the kind of lapses that we see, viewers, even in South Kashmir today, where we've lost men of caliber. When are we going to look at ourselves in the mirror? When are the hard decisions going to be taken? Anyhow, Tehseen Poonawala, I don't want to get carried away, because the idea is to arrive with the hard facts closer to the truth. Mr. Azad says, let's not become rhetorical here. Let's not make it overtly political. Mr. Rodriguez says the same thing. Let's stick to the basics, get the basics right. Your response.
Rahul, good evening. At the onset, gratitude to all our fallen men today in 13 December, and to happy that none of our members of parliament or anyone got injured. But here are the hard facts, Rahul, as you like to put it. We have a government that has the spine of a molten eclair. It will cut down a forest, collect the wood, make a bench on that wood, and then give a speech on conservation. That's how this government operates. The BJP spokesperson, the BJP leaning friend of mine, Savio Rodriguez, spoke about the Israel intelligence failure. Yes, but what did Israel do after that? It took hard decisions. What have we done? We have done exactly zero. Nothing. Let me put the facts before you, Rahul. Like Azad sir rightly said, there are please Savio, please. There are 3 levels of security check that we have to go through. I can understand somebody breached 1, somebody breached 2. How was the physical frisking escaped? How did somebody escape the physical frisking? This, when you knew today was 13 December, yes, this has nothing to do with Pannu, but Pannu had very categorically said that the winter session of parliament will face a terror attack. How could you not be alert? This is exactly what happened prior in another situation in Delhi, the Delhi riots. It didn't happen one time, it happened 2 times under the nose of this very same government. What happened? How many heads rolled? Nothing, zero. Who's responsible? The same people responsible continue to be responsible for security everywhere. How can you not ask questions? Now let's go to the BJP MP. I'm not trying to make this personal, but here is a BJP MP on whose name passes were issued. Did the honorable member of parliament know these people personally or no? If he did know, who from his office knew? Were these people connected? Shouldn't this be a matter of investigation? I'm asking you, Rahul, hypothetically, what if this was the Congress MP from whose office the passes would have gone? The Congress MP sitting out here right now. What would have been the reaction of the BJP today? This was a BJP MP whose office issued passes carelessly at a time when you knew there was a terror threat to parliament. Should questions be asked or no? Will the BJP MP give us answers or no? I am not going to say that I want to get into politics today, but let me ask, will we be addressed today by the Honorable Home Minister? Do we not deserve to be addressed? Or today also it will be about don't be addressed. Now, let me ask one more question. What has the government done since, or the agencies done since then, to train our parliamentarians, and Rahul, you may feel bad, your colleagues in the media, on how to deal with situations like this? Today, when this attack happened with Parliament, we just weren't prepared to escape. Our MPs were, some of them were talking, some of them were packing their bags, some of them were doing something else. What do you do in case of an emergency? Are we prepared with this? Some of your friends in the media fraternity let us down in 2611. Can we, and I don't want to ever think that a media's reporter should ever be blocked, but can we have, along with international organizations, some training for the media on how to report this?
Okay.
We are
the media,
clueless.
let's keep the media out,
well,
because
I'm keeping the media out. I'm keeping
let's
the
just
media,
get
but
to
we are like a deer. We are like a deer caught in the headlights on a highway. We have no idea on how to deal with any of these situations. It's a panic situation. I just want to end with one point. What if this gas was anthrax? What if it was?
No,
Who
you're
would be
absolutely
responsible?
right. I began the show by asking that question. We've been very lucky today. Viewers, there must have been at least, I don't know what the attendance is, that house looks pretty full. There could have been
What is the
150,
Honorable Prime Minister there?
150, perhaps about 170 MPs. Imagine the consequences, Mr. Rodriguez. I have to ask you this. Five issues have emerged from the conversation we've had. Number one, there's a certain degree of worrying amateurism. It's amateurism really, isn't it? We're not talking about, here securing a nuclear power plant with all sorts of high-fangled devices, etc. I mean, this is just the parliament. And these are the basics. You can't get more basic than this. If a chap with a metal detector can't find his way around, well, he's got a problem. I don't know what he's detecting. Then you have an issue. Okay, yeah, Dr. An. Yes,
no,
Dr.
I mean,
Ranganath.
Tehseen makes a very valid point. What if the canister were full of anthrax? Can I just say that what makes us believe that they weren't? Why are we just believing that this is some sort of a smoke bomb? I mean, have we gotten to the bottom of the composition of this so-called smoke that came out of it?
We don't know.
It could be a bioterror. Still, has anybody analyzed it?
No, I don't know. I mean, we're still awaiting. Look, unfortunately...
How unprofessional it was. Just one line, Anand, and to add to what Anand said, the Honorable Speaker told the MPs on whose hand it went, no, don't wash your hands, keep it. You should have called in first aid immediately and had that analyzed. And the reason I speak about immature behavior, the canisters
I'll also tell you, just to add to this, you had media actually picking up these canisters outside, the cartridges or whatever. I mean, I don't know why they didn't sort of school themselves, and perhaps that's the point Tehseen Poonawalla was making, but we'll come to that. But Mr. Azad, look, there is amateurism, there is unaccountability, there is silence, there is Mr. Simha. I mean, where do we begin here, Mr. Azad?
Yes, there are 3 points.
I'll come to you, Savio, I'll come to you. Yes, I've seen your hand. Yeah.
There are 3 points I would like to mention here. First is, in fact, it is in the parliament rules that whenever you issue passes, this is by the MPs, you are responsible for them. In fact, you have to write there, he's my relative or he's my friend or he's very well known to me. What actually is happening in parliament is that people from the constituency are just going to the MPs and getting the passes issued from the office. But the issue
but we have a very active, Mr. Azad, we have a very active ethics committee. They hold many, very long and inquisitorial meetings and hearings. So has Mr. Simha been called before one of these? God knows what racket he was running. I don't want to cast aspersions because they'll haul me up before the Privileges Committee. I'm also asking too many questions today, viewers. Have you noticed?
Rahul, but the most important point also is that despite that, if the passes are being issued for this particular day, there should have been some more care exercise. So are you going to go in for more verification?
We don't know, sir, because the people who are supposed to be speaking are swings like silent. What is with this silence, Savio? Can't understand. Tehseen Poonawalla is urgently asking.
I don't think Rahul is silence, okay? So let me explain it to my good friend Tehseen, because I have a lot of love and respect for him, and he knows that. The point is, you have a problem. There is an incident that has happened. The normal human reaction to an incident is let's find the person responsible for it and let's pin the badge that he's failed and go ahead. We are concerned, and that is what my concern is as a citizen, that there is a problem in the security that has been so grossly underestimated in this situation. And we should get to the bottom of it, and then we can go after the heads that are necessary to be rolled. I agree with Tehzeeb. Pratap Simha should be questioned because it was his passes that allowed for them to enter. And that is a security investigation that needs to continue and finish. But the point is what? What is the important aspect? The important aspect is this entire thing is not that the head should roll, but the reason for the security breach. At what point did the security breach happen? And was there a probability of a larger conspiracy attached to this?
Okay.
That to me...
Let me bring in Mr. Hanumanthaiah. Mr. Hanumanthaiah, how does the opposition plan? You had a meeting,
Yes.
I'm told, an all-party meeting. First of all, what were you told in this all-party meeting, if you could reveal? Number one, if you were part of it, I don't know. Number two, how does the opposition plan to take this forward?
No, definitely today opposition parties in the Rajya Sabha, we demanded the chair to have an explanation from the ruling party, which the ruling party did not do it. And at least we demanded for a discussion on this and what is the lapse and where things are going wrong. And don't you expect the Home Minister by 2 hours come out and say what is wrong in that? And where the security has been lapsed and why that lapse and what is the action taken on them so far. If you don't take any action on these kind of things and you take action on MPs where there are no mistakes and there are even in the transparent cases.
What will
the
citizen want
today?
today?
Don't you expect the Home Minister to take the responsibility and come out of it?
Well, these are valid questions, viewers, and they must be answered on the floor of that same house where this outrage has taken place. And Dr. Ranganathan, as a citizen, what are the answers that you would like to hear in the next few days?
Well, we will hear a lot of answers, but I beg to disagree with my good friend and brother Savio when he says that more important than heads rolling is we find out the reasons. Of course, we find out the reason, but as Mr. Azad said, somebody was at that threshold that allowed this canister, a person carrying it, to enter. Now that person has to be sacked immediately.
I agree on
there
that.
is no... Yeah, so heads must roll. That should have
Post
rolled
the
within the hour.
investigation.
No, I'm sorry, because A and B, whoever is in charge of Parliament security does not have a backscatter X-ray, or does he not have it? That means can plastic bombs not be detected? That itself, so that person also must be sacked. And the Home Minister should possibly tender his resignation or offer to resign, because Home Ministers have resigned on much lesser crimes. I mean, this is such a serious matter. As I say again, anthrax takes some hours to have an effect. Who is to know that the smoke emanating from the snow bomb did not contain anthrax? Has anybody checked it?
Well, viewers, look, this story is not over. We still don't know who the other two, there are supposedly 6 accomplices. We don't know the identity of the other 2, or there are all sorts of confusing details because there's an information vacuum. This is a serious story. And let me tell you, viewers, there are people who are not asking the right questions tonight. And that worries me on behalf of my profession. That worries me. Remember, viewers, CNN News 18's tagline is on your side. We will always ask the questions that ensure your well-being. That's what this is about. This is what the hard facts is about. Judge the hard facts with the response of other media today, viewers. And come back and tell me what you thought. Let's move on, because there's another very big story.